Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very special stream with our guest, Wade Acuff. Hi, Wade. How you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Andrew? What's up, everybody? Trying to get the words out. Got to get them all
Yes.
out.
No, it's okay. They'll eventually come out. You just kind of let them linger in the air and then they come out. If you are watching this live, hello. Welcome to the Adobe Live audience. We are live pretty much every day. You can find us at behance.net/Adobe Live. If you're watching on YouTube in the replay, join us for a live stream sometime. Wade, let's go ahead and give you some intros, talk about what we're working on today. Give us the rundown of who is this man on our screen.
Okay, well, let's start way back. No, okay, let's not do that.
In the summer of '93.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting because today we're going to be doing usually I am working on illustrations, concept art, that sort of thing. But that's not all I do. I also do a little bit of motion graphics. If you can go check out my IMDb page, which I don't really talk about a lot. I've done a bunch of things. We'll just put it that way. But I do work mostly in illustration, and I thought for a half second that this stream was going to be all about illustration and lighting and 3D forms, but
Surprise.
hey, no. Today we're dipping into After Effects and a little bit of Illustrator. But let me show you a little bit of what I've done. So I've worked on a couple of series for PBS. I've done some other movies, film, video, and stuff.
Lord of the Rings. Sorry, what? I just have to throw that in. Every time that we talk, I just feel like I have to throw it in. All right, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so on that note, I always like to think there are no small jobs, but there are smaller budgets for jobs. And so I'm going to show you real quick a couple of those, just kind of like this is some literally. Let me play this with the audio and let's see if this. I hope we're ready for audio playback. Let's find out. Okay. So there won't be any audio.
I'll do the audio.
Imagine a direct to TV infomercial. That's what this was for.
Okay.
Little sewing button on here. This is just some graphics for a local Friday night football show. This was a train for a PBS show. This was one of the main assets that was built. So this is all 3D stuff. And let's see what else is in here. So a lot of times I get jobs that just are bits and pieces, like they wanted impact for this helmet. We'll just roll through this for a second so you can see some of the motion. Like I said, these jobs are what you make them. I had a lot of fun with probably every one of them because I always try to find a challenge in every job that I get. And this one especially was really challenging. I really enjoyed doing the 3D modeling. That's one of the things I did on Lord of the Rings. And still do when I get time. So sometimes there's just bits and pieces like this kind of stuff. I think that's all we have there. And then I will show you one commercial. Let's see if I can pull it up.
And yes, people in chat are saying, how did we not know this? This is my favorite thing. So if you are an Adobe Live viewer, Wade is one of our regulars. He's a mod. We love him here on the show. And Wade does a lot of illustration and a lot of like fantasy art. But I've known for a long time that Wade is the expert that he is in After Effects. And so I'm excited that we get to like highlight it a little bit because you're great.
Well, I appreciate it, Andrew. We'll find out. We'll find out by the end of the stream.
We'll do a poll at the end of the stream. Yeah.
But this is a commercial that kind of shows you a little bit more closer to what we might be doing today. This is, again, a local commercial. You may not have audio for it, but I'll
voice it over.
Anyway.
You like to think big? Plans? Big plans? Cars? Moments? How about children? Follow your dreams through the ocean with dolphins. But it's smaller. You got some fees, but your loan rates are going down across thousands of ATMs and branch locations all across the United States. Your money is banking at the baking it up. Member exchange. We'll take you there. It felt right, right?
That was perfect. Actually, that was probably better than the original audio.
Hire me. I'm ready.
Now can I get out of? Oh my gosh.
We're stuck here. This is the rest of the stream, y'all. The refinance your now at a lower
There
rate.
we go. There we go. Okay. So that's just a little brief intro to sort of what we're doing today. But Andrew, why don't we talk about what we're doing today? What is this
Yes.
project we're working on?
So let's go ahead and do a project. Let's hop over to my screen real quick so I can give kind of an overview and set some context. So there is a show that is happening with Adobe Live. We started streaming over on Twitch, which is new, just twitch.tv/Adobe. And it happens every single week, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Yes, at 1 p.m. called Anchor Points. It is a talk show with Nick Longo and I, who is in chat. And it's just a talk show about design. We show you tips and tricks. We help you level up your creative careers and just have a whole bunch of fun and live interaction. And with that, we wanted to create some stuff that had fun energy, was unique to the show. And so this is some of the branding that we're working with. And Nick Longo did most of this branding, and it is gorgeous, gorgeous. And what we're going to be doing today is adapting this into a high energy intro for the show. And so Wade, I'll let you kind of take over from there. Wade and I are going to be collaborating today between assets and After Effects. And so let's let you take over and talk about what we're doing in After Effects.
Sure, absolutely. First, is this the same branding that you guys did on your not Anchor Points show, your -2 episode? Is this some of, or is this off? Was this off screen?
Yes, this was some of the stuff that we did on our like preview episode, which happened a couple weeks ago. So today is another preview episode. If you want to stick around later today and join us on Twitch, we are going to be building out more branding for this. So we're doing intro today, and then later today we'll be doing more branding for Anchor Points, which is going to be fun.
That's right. So what we're doing today, and if we're hop back over onto my screen. So I did, I think we should mention the touchstone for this. Andrew came to me with like, hey, I really like the SNL Weekend Update. How it kind of intros. And I was like, well, we can use that as a reference. And that's exactly what we did. I made a project here, and we can talk about how I built this out if we want to. All I did was some blocking, and you're going to see that there's nothing in this blocking stage where I basically just build out all the edits and cuts using solid layers and just kind of moving things around. And then I'll show you a rough cut of the same blocking, but let's just check out the blocking first. And you're probably not going to see a lot. You'll see some movement here and there. There's just frames sliding them back and forth. Okay. There's one clip of Nick hiding in there where I did a little treatment. And then that's it. And you can't see it, but there's a lot of movement going on. And I'll show you real quick in the rough cut.
I love seeing this behind the scenes because I think people that are trying to get into animation try to just jump right in and like go for it. And so I love seeing that there's really thought behind it. And just like when you're doing a page layout or a design, it's a lot of gray boxes to have context for what you're about to do.
Mm-hmm. And this is the same rough cut, but I just started throwing in some of the assets you gave us. We have a shared library, and so I just kind of started using some of those assets, plugging things in, making a few changes to the edit. But let's take a look at that.
Okay, this is so fun. This is the first time I'm seeing this, by the way.
This is all new. This is where I left it when Andrew said, hey, how about don't do any illustration? Let's do After Effects. And I was like, ugh. I did work on this a little bit last night on my personal stream, my Behance stream, and I decided to not use any of that we did last night.
I love when that happens. Every now and then that it's just like, well, none of that's going to be a thing. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I think Annika is asking what typeface this is.
Oh, yes.
And it's...
Glancier. I can put it in chat. It is not an Adobe font, but it is... I put the name in chat for you.
That's it. So, Andrew, from here, we can talk about a couple of things. We can continue to work on this and kind of hone it. We can do things like take a look at some of this footage and what kind of treatment you want to give these photos. We can talk about that sort of thing. Because here's the deal. we're not going to have, this is not a Martha Stewart episode. We're not going to have, hey, this is what we were doing, and here's the final product. If you want to see the final product, you're going to have to tune into Anchor Points on Twitch. What time does that come on?
It will be on 1 p.m. Today will be another episode we're building out. We are launching our full pilot watch party next week, February 1st at 1 p.m. So 211 is going to be our pilot episode. It's going to be a watch party. So it's going to be like what Wade is doing, edited, curated, animated, going to be awesome, so that we have it dialed in for you. And then we'll have a watch party in Discord. But yeah, hang out at 1. And I actually love this workflow because I think a lot of times on Adobe Live, we're like working on things. We try to get to a final product. But this is hopefully an inside look at what it's like to work with an animator, or if you are an animator, to work with a client, because I've literally hired Wade to create this. I am the client. Wade is the designer. And so I don't think we've had an Adobe live stream like this, that we had the client and the creative working live. And so we'll get live feedback, art direction, all that stuff, and the actual application. I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely. So yeah,
what time zone? Sorry, Pacific time. Yes, sorry.
So where do you want to start?
Let's go ahead and run one more time, and I'll kind of give like initial reaction, and we can see where we're going.
Because I haven't done anything with, let me pull this up real quick, just to give you an option before we run through this. I'm going to drag over my Illustrator if it doesn't crash. So we can take any one of these elements and make them, make a little graphic embellishment out of it, where it moves around, does a little thing. And we can also take these and make these a transition for your Twitch page or Twitch channel if you'd like. So we can work with these however you want. We can do that today, but let's take a look again at the rough cut. Oh, and most importantly, I will say this. Usually, Andrew, I request any kind of audio, any kind of music, any kind of track.
Oh, yeah.
Prior to getting started, because that really, you can hit on the beats, yes, and really sink it in. We don't have that. I worked off a template, but we'll figure it out.
All right.
Oh, there's audio there. Oops. So just imagine this with some really,
Yeah, I think,
catchy.
I think this is really fun and really good. I think what may be helpful for multiple things is if we did some animations with some of those elements, because we could plug them in here as visual interest, and then we also could add them other places.
Exactly.
And so I think maybe if we focus on building blocks of doing some simple animation with those elements, I think could be really helpful in a bunch of different places.
Okay. Do you have one that you would like to see animated?
I wonder if we could show a workflow if we did some of these like little, like the arrows or whatever, or the circles or something like that, to do like a drawing effect or like a reveal paint in on some of those.
Yeah, we can do some real quick, easy ones first.
And I think that that's something that a lot of people that are doing animation want to do with like type, or that it, looks like it's being drawn on. Okay. And if we're doing the same workflow that I think I know, it's not that difficult to get that effect, right?
No, it's going to be super easy.
Yes.
Especially the way that I'm going to do it. So what I'm going to do here, and you'll see this is where I have a little setup where I just kind of saved, this is Illustrator, and I have a blank document where I'm just going to paste some of these into. And you could do all of these on one Illustrator file if you wanted to, but I'm just going to do them one by one. And all I'm doing is copying and pasting, and then I will probably scale this up and then save it.
Oh, green is, oh, no, you're on layers. Okay. Yeah, I got shocked with the green outline, and I was like, wow, that's a bold choice for an outline.
Yeah, that's just the highlight. So then I'm going to save this, just control, save this, and I'll name this orange swipe. I have no real naming convention for these at the moment.
Yeah, and I feel like there are a lot of times, and I think that this is the perfect workflow that we're showing, is breaking things into pieces makes everything so much easier. And so instead of that we looked at this rough cut, and instead of being like, all right, cool, let's like change the whole rough cut, we thought back to like, okay, what are the pieces that will be most helpful? And then we're starting with just individual pieces, and then that will kind of build into feedback evolution, which I think is going to be really nice.
I'll name this Orange Swipe 2.
double orange swipe. We love a good double orange swipe.
Oh, let's see. That's the first one I did. Let's see.
There's a lot of swipes here. Also, is there integration with Creative Cloud Libraries into After Effects?
Yes, I invited you.
We'll get there. Yes,
yeah,
I think I did accept that. So
okay, cool.
we'll get there. But there's magic about to happen.
Let's see. So I'm gonna call this black. Oh, and speaking of, if you ever want to drop in the official swatches for this project,
oh boy, I will give you
that
swatches
would
as well as some extra colors, even if we have some
extra colors.
I know, right?
Yeah, let me show you what I've already done. Let's see if I can pull this up. So I did go ahead and break some of these down already. And let's see. So let's open this one up. So I already broke this one down. This was all one layer basically, and I just made them all into multiple layers. Doing the exact same process. I can show you real quick how to break that down. None of this is complicated. I'm just going to copy the whole thing. Get rid of this.
We love having a cross-product workflow, and I like that you're pretty comfortable in whatever products, right? You're comfortable in Illustrator, Photoshop, After Effects, kind of whatever you need to be, right?
Yeah, some more than others. It really, and this is kind of why you will see a range of work from me. Is I love getting invested in sometimes in projects I shouldn't even have approached, but they're a lot of fun. You know, it lets me get out of my kind of comfort zone, but that also means I have to learn other software that I may not have ever touched before. But yeah, let's see if we can bring this up. So this is all I did for this. Just coming in here and selecting these individually, Control C, and there's probably an easier way to do this. Make a new layer. That layer is already selected. Control or Command Shift C, and it will paste in place. And then I will hide. Oh, did I do it? Did it do it? Did it do it? I don't think I selected it. Control C, Control Shift. Oh, V. Sorry, did the wrong command. There you go. And then if I hide this, that means that is the only layer. And then you continue down that path. Control C, new layer, Control Shift V, hide it, and you can see that I'm building this out by layers. So I won't go through that whole thing, but that is how I break all of these down. I know there are probably plugins for this and all sorts of fancy ways to do this, but that's how I have done this. In fact,
why are we breaking things down? Is it easier to work with when it's in pieces?
Yeah, I'll show you real quick. I'll switch over to, I'll go to that same asset into, let's see, my lockups here, and name that fin box. If I click into, I'm just double clicking into my composition here, because you know what, yeah, I'll show you one thing, just since we're talking about it. If I wanted to bring that back in, say I'm importing this for the first time, I would go to fin box, click import. After Effects is going to ask me, do I want this as a composition or footage? Footage is usually going to merge layer, or you can choose a layer. Like if I wanted to come in here, I could choose which one of those little fin shapes, but I don't want to do any of that. I want to bring this in as a composition. Then I would click OK, and it will bring that in, and then I can double click on that. It looks like I didn't do anything. There are now two of these in the After Effects file. But now when I'm in here, I can grab these individually. It's kind of hard to see it. Let me drop. I'm just going to create a new blank solid under this. Control Y, Control or Command Y will bring up an option to bring in a solid. Click OK. I'm going to drag that below everything. I just wanted you to be able to see this pivot point, because that's what's going to be important. And I will select this one, and let's say if I want to move that pivot point, you can just press Y and it'll make this editable. And then if I press press R on the command, it will give me rotation options, and now we can rotate that. So we can animate on this rotate if we want to. That's why I break everything down, so that I have individual controls for each one of those layers. You may not want that. You may want to have some groupings. It just depends on what you plan on doing with it. I have no idea what we plan on doing with this, so that's why I broke it down to all its basic parts.
Just to be safe.
Yes, and
it's very much like when you're working in Photoshop, you work with a non-destructive workflow. We're kind of trying to do that just in case we need to change something or something goes wrong.
Exactly. I'm actually going to delete this fin box too, because I don't want to get that confused. And delete. Yes. Okay. All right. So yeah, we were breaking things down. Let's grab a few more. What am I looking for here?
And I'm going to add in those colors for you.
Oh, thank you.
Now.
Let's bring in a couple of more swipes, and let's take this arrow here.
Also, this is completely unrelated from anything that we're doing, but chat, I'm curious, can you hear my stomach? I didn't have breakfast and I just had like the loudest grumbles, and I'm so aware of like, is my mic picking that up? And chat, we're keeping it 100 here. I'm just curious if you can hear it. All right. So we're bringing stuff back into Illustrator, doing some more options, and I'm adding those colors for you right now.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just grabbing a couple of things and we'll get on to the animation portion of this shortly. Keep doing that.
And while Wade saves that out, I'll go ahead and I'm just going to zoom if we want to flip over to my screen. On some of the different color variations that we're working with. So this is the color palette that we're working with, very like vintage retro, Mad Men, like, I don't know, 60, 70, mid-century modern is kind of the zone. So lots of fun pops of color and whatnot. And then you can kind of see how they're coming together over here. And Wade, something that might be a thing that I think is a thing is with a lot of these pieces, if we wanted to have a variation that is a different color, is that something that's easy to change? Is that something that's going to be difficult? Is that something that's just like plug it through?
It's going to be pretty easy to change. The way all of these are built, it should be fairly easy to change. There's also lots of ways to make those changes in After Effects. It can get confusing, but really, if you learn one, that's kind of all you need. Let's see.
Magic. And so I'm just doing some different variations here to kind of get some ideas of how we could combine some of these things. We love a good crossover. All right, we can flip back to your screen, Wade. You're breaking things apart. And
still breaking a couple of things down. Yep.
In your brain, as you're doing this, are you like animating it already in your brain?
Yeah, I'm already thinking about ways I can use this. Just sometimes it really just, it's kind of like the way I approach it. And it may just be because I'm so like, geared to draw things out myself to see. I have to really experiment with the shapes when I get them into After Effects, and you'll see that in a minute. Let me make sure I have all of this that I want.
All the pieces. Also, chat, if you have any questions for Wade,
yes,
go ahead and
please
drop them into chat. If you have suggestions for us, also drop those in chat. If you have a funny joke, drop that in chat. We love hanging out with you, chat. Between Wade and I, we love you. All are our favorites. So say anything you want in chat, but specifically if you have questions.
All right, so let's get to doing a couple of these little widgets here. Bring those in. If I can remember which ones I just made. Dot arrow, circles, swipe. Uh-oh, did I bring in just that? Yeah, that's not what I want to do. To bring these in individually, so it will let me.
The good old workflow of it's working. Oh wait, it's not.
Yeah,
that's I think everyone's favorite workflow.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have a favorite of these that you want to do first?
I think the little circles, the like little separating circles, would just be a really easy, quick, cool effect.
Okay, let's do that first then. Let me get this one in here, and then we'll jump right on that. All right, circles, where are you? There you are, import. Okay. All right, so we can just jump right into the composition of this, double clicking. And you can see this is the exact same file size we have in Illustrator, but we can turn continuous rasterization on when we bring it into the main comp,
Okay.
so that it's not dithered or has any, aliased edges.
Yes, and dithered and alias edge for you, it's just those little spikies that happen when you're in like a preview,
No
and you're like, is the
pixelation.
quality low? And it's like, no, it's just giving you a weird preview. So that's basically what we're doing, is we're turning off any of that squiggliness.
And if you want to change the composition size, you can just press Control K. It'll take you into your composition settings, and then you can change this to something we're going to use, and then you're already good to go. So now I just set this up as what did I set it up as? 1920 by 1080, basically 30 frames a second. And let's see, what do we want to do first? Let's combine these first. Start. We'll see how close Andrew made these in actual, like, are they actually the same size as the other?
Let's hope so. Everyone cross your fingers.
Or maybe not. Oh, you know what I want to do before I do any of that? If we like this, like if case these were made specifically, to be in this lockup, like this is how you want to see them at some point. I like to go ahead and grab all of the layers. If you press P, you'll get your position key, your little stopwatch here for making keyframes. And you can just click it once with them all selected, and it will lock that into place. So we have that. If I move this over here and I don't set it's going to automatically set a keyframe. I think I can turn that off, but I don't want to turn that off because it makes things easier later. But if I want that to go back to the original position, I can just delete that. And so we'll always have that if we need it.
Interesting. So you're just basically like making a little checkpoint that if we ever need to go back, it's there.
Right. You can do it that way, or you can just, Control D, grab all of these and just have a backup. It's however you want to work. I think I'm going to use that way. And then I will color code these by grabbing all of these and just change those to cyan or whatever color you want to indicate that's not the ones we're touching. And then
we love some good organization.
All right. So let's see. So let's do just that. Let's start with a keyframe. Let's say we want them to end there. I'm just going to drag this down. We're probably going to make this super quick. So I'm just shortening my timeline or my workspace just by dragging this back and forth. You can do that.
And with something like this, is this something that you can easily like retime if it's too fast, too slow?
Yes. Yep. And we'll do that. I'll do something real quick. We'll just put these all back into position. Let's see, which one do we have here? I'll drag this up. Sure, why not? And then pull this one down. Sure, why not? And then if we just do a little preview, start to get something already happening. Yeah.
That is very mid-century science fiction. Like it is, it's already feeling right.
It's pretty slow too, right? So we don't want it maybe to be that slow. So like you said, can we re-edit this? Absolutely. We can just drag these down. And then now you can, make this faster. Let's see. I'm not sure what we're going with on what is cool or not. But I know sometimes we like to put a little ease in or ease out on these frames.
Yeah. And I wonder if we can, let's do the ease in, ease out, and then I have a suggestion.
Okay. So I'm a big fan of learning the hotkeys of the things you use the most. And I always forget what this is. So that's, what is it, like hotkey salad? Like when you just start, pound into all the ones you've memorized for every program you've ever used. And you're like, I'll get it right eventually.
Yeah. You're basically writing an email, but it's like you just trying to find the right hotkey. Yeah.
Yeah. So Shift F9 is an ease in. And if you press Control or Command Shift F9, it's an ease out.
Okay.
So there you go. But I'm going to use the ease in, and let's see what that looks like. So you can see it kind of slows as it comes to a stop.
Yep.
And then, all right, what was your suggestion?
Okay, here's my suggestion is it's here. It does, when it's at the end of that where it's like separated, it does like a couple spins and then comes back in together. right? So it goes like
All right.
shoot, and then the whole thing does like a fidget spinner spin, and then comes back together.
Yeah. So you're introducing a fun little thing here that I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to add a new layer. Go to new. Go to null object.
Yes, this is exactly where I was trying to get to go. So I'm excited.
So instead of like trying to animate each one of these things individual, we're going to let essentially attaching them to a layer that already has its center point to the canvas. Essentially, we can just rotate that by grabbing all of these layers, our working layers, and I'm going to pick whip. Use this little pick whip. Select this. Go and just select your null object and let go. Let's see, this object has an expression. There should not be an expression on that. Let's find out. Why is there an expression on this?
Speaking of, this is so bad. Speaking of expressions, if you haven't tried Adobe Express.
Wow. Okay, now we're good to go.
Seamless. That was like the product marking where like they drink a Dr. Pepper like towards the camera.
All right, so now that I did successfully do this, I don't know why there was an added expression, but I'm going to grab the null object and I'm moving just that object so you can see what that gets us. The other bonus to this is you can now still animate these other objects separately. So if I wanted to grab this guy and move it off here, now that, oh, I didn't animate it, but if I animated the null object, let's do that real quick. P for position, bam, grab the null object, attempt to grab the null, there we go. Move position. Okay, so now you can see we still have our animation, but these are still acting independently. Anyway, I don't know if that came through or if that's clear, but if I've confused you, chat, please ask some questions.
Ask some questions.
Right. Ask some questions, please. All right, let's get back to square one. All right, cool. But we don't want to use position for this. Oh, by the way, if you just toggle or hit your little menu here, your little toggle down button, you'll get your transforms. But look how crazy this would be if everything, let's move our timeline up. Everything was open all the time so you could see everything. It's not very friendly.
Yes,
for
it's
editing.
a lot of pieces. Yeah,
so a couple of things you can do with that is one, know the hotkeys for the for what you want to animate for the let's see. So for this, I want to animate rotation for the null object. So you press R for rotation. Let's move this back down. And if I want to see all the keyframes for everything, I'm going to select everything we've animated. I'm going to press U, and it'll bring up everything you've animated. So if I also had animated the rotation on the null object, it would have brought up that. But we haven't done that yet. So at the end, Andrew wants to get to this point, pause, and then rotate. Do you have a preference of counterclockwise or clockwise?
I feel like clockwise. And like, to me, everything needs to like go to the right for some reason. Like, I love the rightness of animations and movements. The apartment that I live in, I chose because I went to another apartment to tour and I walked in and I was like, I don't like the leftness of this apartment.
Oh my gosh.
The kitchen was to the left and I was like, it needs to be to the right. So yes, I would love if it went clockwise.
All right. So we're going to rotate this clockwise. How many rotations do you want to do? It's a little off center.
I think 3 is probably good.
Okay. And we'll figure out what that length needs to be as soon as we do a little feedback. Let's see what it looks like. It's going to be pretty fast. Whoop! So that's really fast. Let's bring this out. I don't think we have. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. I'm going to do our ease in, ease out on this.
Yep.
And then ease in. And then we can bring it back together, right? That's what you wanted?
Yeah, I think that's fun. Chat, what do we think about that? Wade, what do you think about that? That's the question.
I think it's a it'll be a fun little like thing to put in the background of one of those slides in the intro, so we can kind of have it working, doing some extra work for us for just a little bit of motion.
A little
Let's see.
extra oomph, as we say, some zazz.
All right, so I'm just doing a little copy and paste, and then I'm going to take. If you hold or press Control or Command, you can turn these back to the basic keyframe type, which is what I want. I'm going to Control C, Control V. Nope, that's going to get both layers. I just want the keyframe for each one of these. This is basically setting them back into place. I'm just copying instead of moving them. I'm just copying. So with these, we've got a problem. Let's see, what did I do here? That one's correct.
My favorite thing on Adobe Live is when things go wrong, because then we get to problem solve together and we get to figure it out. Because I'm sure that people are watching, if they're trying to do animation and they're like, something's wrong. It's like, oh yeah, Wade made that mistake too. Let's learn from him.
There we go. I think I just pasted the wrong keyframe. Okay, so now it spins. Let's see what happened. I think I may have messed something up. Oh no, we're okay. All right. Do you like the speed of the open and close of that? Because we can change that as well. Just gonna put our ease back in here. And you may not always want easing in or easing out. Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of digging it. I'm gonna go ahead and make it all quicker. And maybe take out. I'm going to take out that third rotation. Just going to take this back to 2. See what that looks like. There we go.
Yep, I love it.
And then you can do things like, if you want, it may not be your taste or may not fit what you're doing. You can also add motion blur. You have to turn it on for your layers. And then you should get a little bit of smooth.
Oh, how did you just do that? Let's show that one more time.
Oh yeah. Here, let's do this. Let me put I'm gonna add a new layer, just a new solid, so we can see. We can get rid of that transparency behind us. There we go. Motion, just adding your motion blur, just the easiest toggling this on over here. And there are camera settings in After Effects you can change to massage how much blur and how little blur you'd like. So yeah, just toggling these on or off. And the little icon is like steps, like you would see, for motion blur. And it's that simple. Whoop.
That it gives it a whole nother level. Like it feels like so fancy from what it was by just clicking on that motion blur.
Yeah. It changes. It does change a lot of sometimes you don't want there can be a line of we want to keep things clean and have more frames in between it. But I think what we're going for is, like you said, that mid-century. I could definitely see some motion blur, maybe even making that more blurry. I don't know. It depends on what we're going for. But let's see. What else could we do with this? Do you want to do something else with this, or do you want to do one of the swipes?
Yeah, let's do a swipe.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save this because I know Annika is in chat.
That's a great idea. It would be awesome. That's a really great idea to save.
Yeah, I saw Annika watching. She was like, got to sip and save. Sip and save, got a drink.
Sip and save. Oh, I like that. Have some water and save while you have some water.
Let's see. Let's pull in. You're welcome. You're welcome, Annika. Let's pull in one of these swipes. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with this. Control K for our composition settings and just set this to correct size. We can scale this up if we'd like.
And it is maintaining the vectorness of this, right?
Well, let's take a look. I'm going to add, it actually brought in layers that I didn't need because this is from a different file and I didn't change it. Let's see which one it's on. Okay, we don't need these because they're empty. I'm going to delete those. You see it says right window. That was for another file altogether. And you can rename things if you'd like by right-clicking and rename and then orange swipe. Okay. So yeah, you can see here. Let me make another layer just so we can see under it. You can see it's kind of blurry, not great. Well, if you come over here and turn this little toggle on, it is the continuous rasterize.
Yep.
And then it makes everything crisp for us.
Interesting. So it's, rendering out those vectors. But if you leave that on, it probably affects performance. And so turning it off is like, cool, just know in the back of your mind.
Right. Surprisingly, it's not very noticeable today.
Good.
And now it used to be kind of a thing, depending on how complicated, if you have tons of points and all sorts of things, you know how it is with Illustrator, the more dense the points you have, your anchor points, your computer might struggle.
Yes.
But we should be good. We should be good on this. So for this one, I'm gonna change our layer color. If you want to change the layer color, I'm saying layer. It's a solid. If you press Control or Command Y, it'll take you into those solid settings.
Okay.
And then you can just change the color. I want something a little bit darker so we can see it.
And that's just giving us some contrast to work with.
Yeah. So it's Control Y to make a solid. And it's Control or Command Shift Y to edit a selected solid. All right. A couple of ways we can animate this. I think the way I want to choose, I'm going to choose to do it is just using a mask.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Basic. There's let's see, you can be really simple about it. And I'm just grabbing the rectangle tool, make sure that my layer is selected. Because if you don't have a layer selected, you'll see a little star by your cursor, your mouse. That means you're about to make a shape layer.
Okay.
Which is not what we're going for. So that's a shape layer.
No shapes.
But, yeah, not for this, not right now. But if you have if you have a layer selected, it's going to make a mask, and that's going to look like this. So we're going to be real simple with this, and we're going to be animating the mask path. And I'm just going to start where it is in the add. If you put it to none, your mask is not doing anything. When you first add a mask, it will always be on add.
And this is basically, we're going to be moving anchor points, not the entire shape, right?
Yeah, these are going to be, actually, I'm going to grab this, double click on it, and just slide this across.
Cool. And so it's just moving that point. It's not the whole shape. It's just animating part of the shape, which is different than what we've been doing with other animations.
Right. So right now we're just focused on this mask. I'm going to drag this out to next to maybe 2 seconds, which is still going to seem long. And then since we're further down the timeline, and when I move this, like I just did, it's going to add another keyframe for us. And then when I play it back, whoop, but that's way too slow, way too slow. And let's bring this back. We're going to go like half a second.
Nice. And there's a bunch of ways to do this. This is just one way, right? Yes.
There's a write-on effect. You could use that. You can do multiple of these, which I think is what we can do here in a second. And again, our friend Motion Blur is going to help us out.
Oh, that makes such a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Don't want it longer. I want it shorter. Annika had asked.
Oh, what's the difference?
I saw that
again. Yes. Annika, let us know what you wanted to see again. And there's one more question from chat that was, when would you use shapes from After Effects versus using shapes from Illustrator?
That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Cool.
I think the way I use it is if the shape is really complicated, like you're making it, you're building it, I would use the shape out of Illustrator because I'm just more comfortable in building shapes in Illustrator. However, you have almost the exact same tools in After Effects, and I do build a lot of the shapes I use in After Effects. So it's kind of a toss up. Like if I'm working with an illustration and I have to move things around, I'm probably going to build it in Illustrator and then bring it into After Effects. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so let's make this a little bit more complicated because I don't know if this is going to work, but you know what? We're going to try it.
We're going to try. There's no wrong ways to be creative.
All right, so this is a swipe. You know what? Let's bring in, let's just grab, let's see. I think we have another one here.
I think we have another swipe. It might be a swoop, but it also
A swoop. I should have named it swoop. I don't think
a
I
swipe
brought
and
in
a
the
swoop.
Let's see. Let's go with the other orange swipe 2. Import that one. Click OK. Oh, yeah, that's right. Bring this up. Yeah. And then I think I'm just going to grab the layer from this.
Okay, and then drag it on top.
Yeah, I'm just going to copy it, Control C, go back to our other composition, and then Control V. So it just kind of popped in. Don't want to see that. Go ahead and scale this up. Bring this in, place it over. And then
so this is just going to give us some extra dimension.
Well, I'm going to turn this one off. You could do that. I'm just going to grab this mask and everything. Like I'm going to select both keyframes, Control C, and I'm just going to paste that mask onto this layer, and we should get. It's already pre-made our swipe. So this swipe. Now the only reason I did this was because this swipe feels like whoever made this with a marker or whatever was one stroke. It was like whoop. The other one is not. So let's do one that looks like we kind of go back and forth.
Ooh, advanced. Round 2.
It's not going to be advanced. That's the fun part. It's going to be just as easy. Just maybe a little bit more work. And you could, like I said, there's a write-on effect. It's been a while since I've used it. We could try it, but let's keep working with this for now. Make sure I'm on the right layer. I was not on the right layer. All right.
And we can switch over to my screen real quick. I've been working as you talk, which when I host, I like never work, but I was like, oh yeah, we'll work. So this is kind of with those colors that we've been pulling. This is just some like weird combinations or whatnot. And what's great is with what we're doing, if we need to, we can toss in the pink, we can toss in the blue, we can toss in a green. And so we're kind of just setting the base, right, Wade, of these animations, how they work. And then any of the small details we can kind of flip around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Sweet.
So we can edit the colors on any of this stuff at any point.
Easy peasy. And those colors are in a library, which we can get to in a second. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's hop back to your screen and finish where we are, and then we can show some other functionality.
Yeah. So
I get excited.
I'm going to be real down and dirty with this, and just make multiple layers.
That's the way to do it. Is if it ends up looking good and you do it wrong, then you did it right.
We'll see if it looks good. We'll see.
It's gonna be great.
Let's see. I may have to start. Let's just start over. It's easier. Animating that path.
Swoop.
And bring it all the way up here.
And when you're looking at this of like what parts to animate, are you basically just looking at like where the strokes would end?
Yeah, essentially. And again, I'm doing this like the kind of dull, let's say dulled down version of this. I'm not really going to get into the weeds of trying to make it look like we made a mark. It's just the impression that we're doing that. I'm just going to grab this, change a little bit of the angle. And again, you can go into press G for your pen tool, and you've got a little let's see if this is going to work for me. Yeah, you can add points just like you could in Illustrator.
Oh,
Yeah, the same tools are here. It's just finding them and using them in a slightly different way. So I'm kind of just making something that will give us one of these strokes this way. And then I will put that towards the end. And then I'm animating backwards. I'm going to grab these two, pull this back. I could scale it as well, like we did before.
yep.
But I want to give it a little bit more nuance, hopefully.
And so you're basically just thinking through, I want to pull these anchor points this direction, and then it will fill in between you, right?
Yep. And I did not, yeah, this is correct. So right now, this is what it looks like.
Oh, that's so cool.
So we're not quite done with this part. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this whole thing out. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, we get a little bit of weirdness because the mask is moving. But we're going to keep going forward because I want to add another mask.
We got about 35 minutes. So
oh my gosh.
I know, right? Time flies by.
Oh man. All right, let's get some stuff done.
Let's
all right, let's I do want some overlap here.
Just to make sure that as it reveals the whole thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so this one, let's see, this one went this way, and I want the other one to come back the other way. So
that was me storyboarding, just doing trying to figure out how much. Okay, let's talk about reference as you do this. I think that a lot of artists or designers are like, we have to start from scratch and like just figure it out. How often do you use reference? Do you ever like literally like pose and then like trace over it? Like, is that something that you use a lot?
Yeah, I use reference all the time. And since we're talking about motion graphics, and I highly recommend this to anybody that's getting started, just start recording commercials, recording things you like, the motion graphics you like, and just go through it frame by frame and think about how did they make this happen. If you don't have a behind the scenes view, like if you don't know the person working on it, or you're not, a lot of times you can figure out ways to do things just by slowing it down and saying, oh, that's all they did to do this. And we used to have, when I first started out, I was working at a little production company, and we used to talk about, oh, did you see this effect on this commercial? I wonder how they did that. And we would explore and try to figure it out.
Yep. And I think that we can't show it on stream because we'll get a copyright strike. But as we're trying to kind of model this and be inspired and use reference from the Weekend Update SNL intro, there's a lot of elements that we're working on right now that are in there, right? A lot of pen strokes, a lot of zooms and movements, some extra little pieces kind of floating in the corners. And so this is definitely something that we had the idea that we want energy, we want fun. And then we thought, what already exists that has those things? And what can we use as inspiration and kind of pull that gives us energy, that gives us fun? And so I love that we are kind of using that as inspiration and reference.
Yeah. And I thought that was a great pull. Like when you suggested it, I was like, yeah, that's going to work. But you can see what I'm going for here. If I just let this play back, let's press in. There we go. Like it's quick.
Yep.
And maybe too quick is that coming across okay?
It feels like a little too quick.
Well, I think, are we maybe here, let's just make it a little bit slower. So the people, the folks at home can see what's going on. There we go.
Oh
so
yeah, I love that.
Again, I would probably add like 3 of these, maybe 2 more just for each little stroke. And that way you'd get that scribble effect.
Yep.
So you may see some of that in the final intro when we get to that part. All right, so what do you want to do next, Andrew?
Let's go ahead and maybe pop in to the intro and maybe toss some of these on the intro and just see kind of what it looks combined.
Okay. Let's see. What have we done? We did, let's see. All right, so I have this element. I think we're going to lose it altogether because I literally started with what do we see first in the reference, and it was this point. So I think maybe we drop that out. Let's see, bam, bam.
Ooh, do we start with this is probably too much work for what we want to do right now. But do we want to start with that circle animation that we did and then have it like zoom in? So it like does the little separate spin and then zooms to solid color, and then we can use that for a cut or whatever.
You know what? It may not make it into the final intro, but we can do that for today.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So
I know what you're saying, Andrew.
Yeah.
I
So
know what you're getting at.
that is one thing that I was like, maybe. It also might not be on brand for what we're looking for.
Right.
The other thing that we could do is with the headshots that you have of Nick and I think it could be fun to do. If we want to switch to my screen right now, sorry, Paco's in the studio and we're just throwing him back and forth on screens. If we want to do this kind of effect on those headshots that we have, and maybe do like a punch in, and I'm trying to think of how to describe it, but it shows like the picture and then it goes like boo 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 with like a quick cut punch in that like is overlaid in color. Does that make any sense?
No, it does.
Would that be better to do for this time, to like have a thing that's like, rather than doing this that may not make it to the final?
Let's see. Walk me through that again.
So basically, actually work on this and I'll give you a storyboard. How about that?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So
let's see what we can do with the remaining time.
Yeah. Let's flip over to Wade's screen and then I'm going to work on some storyboard stuff over here.
We have a visitor. Hold on.
Guest stream. A special guest on the live stream.
Oops. Say hi. Nope.
Oh.
We have to do a long check though.
Oh yes. Oh, there we go.
We have cables and cords. Oh no. Okay, we're done. It's done. Supervisor does not approve.
Oh.
You okay? Yeah, she's okay.
Okay, she's good.
All right. So yeah, I'll work on this. You work on your thing.
Yep.
And we'll meet in the middle. All right. Let's see, whose screen are we on? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna remove this background layer. So that's all I'm working with. And I'm going to go ahead and scale this thing up, turn our, let's see, hide the title for now. There we go. All right, so we have this little guy. He does this, and then, okay, we want to do, I may want to pull this out so I have control of the null object. But let's just see how this works. Set this as scale, this bam. Just adding keyframes to when I scale this back, because I'm going to scale this up really large.
Okay.
I don't know. We're going to see if this works. All right, we have to, I think what I want to do is, yeah, I think I'm going to pull that out. I'll just work in this composition. That'll probably be easier. And then bring this back on. Slide everything out so I have a little bit more room to play with at the beginning, like maybe a 1/2 second scale. And I'm going to press S to bring up the scale for this null object. We want this to be a little bit bigger, I think, for in frame. I like the idea that it will cut out of the title and action safe, which I just turned on, so that it's kind of bleeding off the edge. And you're not going to see any of that on Twitch. You're going to get the full. You're going to get the full frame, no matter what. I'm going to scale this up really large, just like we did earlier. Pull this out. add a little bit of ease out, ease in probably. Yeah. Let's see. Let's give it a little rest before it starts moving. So I'm going to add a little bit of time between. And again, this, when I do this kind of thing, it really is just kind of blocking this in, getting a feel for the motion. How, do I like it? Does it feel too fast? Just like we did with the swiping earlier. And getting a second set of eyes is always a good idea.
Yes. Which, chat, you can be that second set of eyes, or I can be.
That's
I'll be the second
That's
set of
right.
eyes as well. But chat also, you can be it.
Were you saying to zoom in or out at the end? Like, what was the ending rest for this?
I think like zooming in, and then we just have a solid to put whatever on.
Okay, so at the end, zoom in. Gotcha.
Yes, and Paco in chat is saying you can tell it's a long cat because it's a long cat.
I had forgotten that, because I usually don't wear this monitor, and I was like, "Uh-oh, there's a cord here. She's gonna like that." But it all worked out. I think we're okay. Let's see. It's a little off center. Will we know? Let's find out. It's gonna be real fast. Oh, kind of cool though. It's
a cool effect.
We'll center that up a little bit, and then gonna add our ease out. So are you thinking we start on like just this, like direct cut into this motion? It does this thing and then sweep.
I think so, because I think that the Adobe Live intro has that little like ding, and then it kind of like goes. That this could be that kind of like that it zooms. Woo!
And we can speed this up. We can do anything we need. When we get our audio in, we'll probably have to make massage everything into place.
Yep. Okay. So that feels done enough. We got about 20 minutes left. Okay. Let's flip back over to my screen, and I'm going to show you kind of the storyboard idea that I was working with. Okay. So it's one of two things. So instead of like going right to the headshot, of doing this kind of, and I don't know the reference of where I've seen it, but it kind of is like weird crops with like the text kind of overlapped, and it basically goes like a boom, 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 and then lands in. So it's those quick little arounds. Let's see, you had, yes, where I come in right there. Yeah. So that it kind of hits like a less of a slide, or maybe it is a slide in and then it kind of hits the boom, 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 boom with some of this overlay, right?
Absolutely. We can do anything you want. All of this was just based off the weekend update.
Yes.
So we can completely, and I highly recommend it, make this our own.
Yep. And I wonder if it slides in there, and then when it lands, we do this effect to where it lands and then hits boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. It can be doing that effect as we're sliding in.
Ooh, combinations. And I think that like in my brain, flipping colors was cool, but I think doing one color in different crops could be a way better. So let's maybe try to do that for the last 30 minutes. Does that feel attainable?
Yeah, that we can do that. What do you think about? So we start with this. If you go and watch the SNL, it has that like, name starting and then do that. What if we get rid of this part, and then use your idea over this part, and then bring in.
Ooh, I love that. Yep. This is kind of the land of that effect. I love that. Yep.
It's preparing you it's introducing you to.
It's
prepping the audience for here's Andrew.
Yes. Get ready.
Yeah. All right. So what do we need? Which images did you pick? Which ones do you want?
Let's just use the one that we have of me, and then we can just do different crops of that one.
All right. Well, I'm going to make a new composition.
Cool. Love it. Also, this is going to be a great place that we can highlight that libraries are integrated, because we can grab a color out of those libraries very easily. I have all the swatches. And if Wade needs a color, I don't have to send it to him. I don't have to email him. It is shared and it is there.
Oh, there they are. You see them over here?
My God.
Okay. All right. So I got our libraries open. New composition. I'm just going to call this. Hi, Andrew.
Oh, it's me.
All right. And then let's see what I want to do first. I'm going to make a new, just an empty solid, just a straight up solid with one of our colors. What do you want your color to be? Which one are you looking at?
Oh, give me the pink.
Gosh. Is that super loud for everybody?
Give me, yeah. Okay. Hit me with that cyan.
Ooh. Shades. I need more shades.
This feels right for me.
All right, so let's. I got the photo set in here. Do you know which one that is? Is it the same one that I was using?
Yes, same one that you were using.
Okay, I'll have to go back and check out which one that is.
It was a higher number. Also, you can see the name in those files, y'all. David Fouts, if you want to follow.
I hope that's okay.
Incredible. Oh, no, totally. I just wanted to plug him because he's an incredible photographer. And he took all these photos. So David Fouts on Instagram, if you want to check him out.
Okay, 529. Actually, I can just copy and paste this one.
Yes. Yep. Trying to make it easy on ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of like if you want to deal with your workspace in a more efficient way. I should have done this earlier. Just telling you more hotkeys. So, well, we'll do something first, then we'll talk about it. Cool. Where it'll make sense. It'll be in context. Okay, here's Andrew. I don't want the animation that we had on this.
It's me.
And I'm gonna just delete everything. There we go. All right. So, what's the first thing you notice, Andrew? This is a vertical.
Yes.
Composition. So, a couple of things we can do, and honestly, if we're going for that kind of like, if we're still kind of going with the vibe of a little bit of retro-y, degraded, it's not going to be as big a deal because I'm when I made this originally, I just did this. I made a solid layer.
And you smashed the color?
I just picked the color, clicked OK, bam.
It's a win for me.
Okay, and we'll fix this later. Well, this will be fixed just to show there is a difference in the color. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. It's very slight. So, just be aware that that's one thing we can take care of. And I can do that easily by just so many ways to do things. I'm going to grab my pen tool, making a mask.
And then feather it out?
Feather it out.
Yeah, good old feather.
Yep. And then if you hit double press M, it'll pull up your mask. And then let's see, you want to invert it and then feather. Just increase that.
And now it's perfect.
It's better. Yeah, perfect. Andrew, I like that. I like that.
I was so confident, and it's perfect. It's better. It does look good.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pick whip this to make sure that these layers stay together. So whenever I move this, it's gonna move that one too. I meant to do this. I meant to actually scale this up. Since we're just using this as a solid, it's gonna affect our mask at this point. Oops, didn't mean to do that. But I can scale this up. So if we want to crop in or do anything else, we have a little bit more wiggle room. Let's see if our mask, oh no, it's not going to affect our mask because our mask is on the photo layer. So perfect.
Magic.
I just need to extend the mask. Not like that, Wade. Not like that. Okay. So show me again your storyboard.
Yeah, let's flip back to my screen. So basically, I think that we only need 3 like different crops. So it would basically just be like crop. And I don't think that it's like animating between these. I think that it can be hard cuts.
Like just a solid, yep.
These even could, like, I literally could just make these for you right now as like tiles if you want me to do it. And then if that would be easier to like hit, and then you can animate the slide in. Would that be
How about
easier?
this? I will start that version. You may go ahead and make those tiles
Yep.
while we're talking, and I'll work on it doing it the After Effects way.
Sounds good to me. All right. So let's flip back over to Wade's screen. I'll be working behind the scenes over here.
If that works for you.
Oh, that works for
Okay.
me.
So I want to add an effect to get that kind of, let's see, maybe we want a tint. Let's see, we go into color correction, tint. And then we're going with this. Oof, let's see. I'm going to drag this hot pink up and turn our mode on to add, let's see, what do we want to do? Overlay?
Multiply. Let's multiply.
You want to do multiply? You sure you want to multiply?
Oh, I do.
Oh.
There it is. Ooh.
Oh.
Ha.
Okay. So
who's that man?
we've got something. It's a little dark for my taste, but Andrew is the client. So we'll make it work.
Yes.
Right? All right. So and we want to have, you want just your name as it was in the lockup, or did you make a different one?
I think so. Let's actually use.
I'll just use. Go ahead.
This secondary font. Oh no, Glancer. Whatever we were doing, I think is the one. I think what it was is the correct answer.
I don't know what that means anymore. So
what you have in there? Sorry, what you have in there, I think is the right. This Glancer.
Okay. I'm doing this.
That is great. That's fantastic. Wow, that looks good.
Do you want it white or do you want it?
Yes, let's do it white.
Okay. I'm just going to add another tint to this, but I'm going to use it differently. There's a lot of ways you could do this too. I think you could go into, let's do tint first. So back to color correction, tint, and just map everything to, is it going to work?
And what's great about working
map everything to white
with Wade is I'm literally just looking at his screen right now, trying to match what he's doing. And again, we could put this in a library and make it easy. But I love the live collaboration, being able to just look at your screen and then be like, oh yeah, I can replicate that.
All right, so here's the fun part. I'm gonna make a new fancy new null layer. Null object. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab all of these minus the background layer, solid object, solid layer. Let's go, see, isn't there a pink? Yeah, there's a pink. We'll label all of these pink so that we know that that's all one. I'm going to put all of these onto, you know what? I'm not going to add this. I'm going to take this one out. It actually can stay, but I'm not going to pick whip it like I'm going to do with the others. So I'm going to put these, assign these to, you can either pick whip or you can just scroll down and choose the null layer that you want. Lots of ways to do things. And then I'm just going to, let's say we want the first crop to be, I don't know, just almost like just as it is right here. I'm going to select all these layers, press Alt bracket, and that will bring everything back in alignment to where you're basically on your timeline where your playhead is. It's just for organization.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit, and then I'm going to Control D. Control or Command Shift D, and that's going to split that, and it's basically going to give me a copy at where that playhead is. And I'm going to drag all those layers up just to separate them. And now I can pull this out. This will make a lot of sense in a few seconds here. And I'm going to do the same thing again, except I do want to. Let me make sure this. Here's an issue when you start getting multiple layers, that null layers that have the same name. You don't want that. So if you change, right click, rename. I'll just say this crop to, and it should automatically change from where these were all. They all used to say null to. Now it says crop to, except for the ones that are on crop 1, which I'm about to make. Crop 1. And then let's do that one more time. Just going to extend this. I think it's about 10. We're not going to use this. It's not going to be this long, I promise you. But Control D, Control Command Shift D again. Drag these up. And then this time it did name it crop 3 on its own, which is really cool. Because I kind of gave it, you know, it was just duplicating crop 2. So if you did it again, it would crop 4, crop 5. Anyway, so now we can start manipulating where these are. And just using this null layer, I can move this around, scale it up. Oh my gosh. Let's see, Andrew title, the first one. Let's move. Oh, do you want the? Oh yeah, you were trying to get the name cropped off as well too, right?
Yes. And if we want to flip back to my screen, I can kind of show you where I'm at with this.
Okay.
So I'm doing like the tile. So it is kind of like crop, crop, crop. And then I'll do one more that is the final kind of full color with the little lockup on the side. And I think that that's kind of the thing. And then I can drop these all into the library for you.
Okay. Excellent.
All right. Back to Wade.
Yeah. So I'm doing basically what Andrew's doing, except now as soon as I move my playhead to the next set, it's already cropped differently. So now all I have to do is take this null object and make whatever adjustments I'd like. Try to make sure you're using just the null object. Let's see. I'd rather do it by its attribute. I keep grabbing the wrong thing. Crop. Here, let's lock these. Everything's moving except for the thing that I want. There we go.
That seems to be how things work, especially on live streams. It's all working except for the thing that needs to work.
Yep. All right, and then we'll pull this down, unlock it. And so as you see, this is what's going to happen every time when this plays back. Bam. It's super slow though because they're like 5 seconds long. So hold on, let me reduce these to like just a few frames.
And while you do that, you can hop back onto my screen. So what I'm going to do right now is basically just take the different artboards that I've made here and then export them, and I can drop them directly into this library. Like I can drag and drop from my desktop into the library, and then Wade will have these as slides if we want them. So super easy. I have all of my different artboards here. Just file, export, export as, and I'm just going to throw this, sure. I'll name this slides Andrew, and then I'm going to hit use artboards and click on all. And when I hit export, it is going to export those for me just as JPEGs. Let me go ahead and open a file real quick. All right, cool. So you can see that it's synced. I have all of those files here, and all I need to do is click and drag into our library in Illustrator, and then they sync right there, and then Wade will have those as well in his library across the board. So super easy for collaboration to just work with your libraries right there. So Wade, hop back over. You're doing it After Effects way.
Yeah. And you can see once you get back, you can see that these are already in here that Andrew just dropped me. So they're in the library already. All right. So let's see what we've got here. This is our background layer. Something's off slightly. All right, so now you'll see when I play this back, it's already doing it. Now all I've been doing is manipulating that the null objects controlling everything. So
that's interesting. So it's just one slide, and then the null object is making it so that it's zooming, cropping, being weird altogether.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier. So if you want to set your playback for your RAM preview, if you press in, it'll set to the last frame, wherever your playhead is. So I will go ahead and put this back. You can slide it as well. But if you're like somewhere in the middle of a composition, you can press B, I guess, for beginning, and it'll adjust that accordingly. So B and N to adjust that. Anyway, so yes, that one null object, all I did was move it around, and we've got a little reel of Andrew's.
It's kind of fun, right? It's like a nice little like pop-in effect.
It's cool. And we can make that shorter so that it fits a little bit into that. I don't know how much time we have left, but
we got about 5 minutes. We could probably do it and then put it maybe in that section with the little slide in at the end.
I'm gonna go ahead and shorten these slightly.
We got plenty of time. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Come on. I mean, Paul Traney would do like 5 different compositions.
It's true. Yeah, he would have full branding done in like, 5 minutes.
Yeah. A new project every minute. All right, so let's see if this is enough time. You know, we can check our time here. But this is why I wanted to do it in its own composition as well. So we're going to replace this little part before the slide. And that was called Hi Andrew.
And you can just drop that composition in as if it's just like its own layer, and then you don't have to do with anything there.
I'm going to grab this this solid, and I'm just for safety's sake, I'm going to duplicate it first, but I'm going to grab this solid, and I'm going to press Alt or Option and just drag this down, and it's going to replace that with our Andrew composition.
Oh, interesting.
Except that it didn't. Let's see. It didn't place it at the right time. Let's try it
over there.
Let's see if we can make this. There we go. It's in there somewhere. Yeah. Got to get rid of that other Andrew though. Bam. So now we'll just set our playhead, and then I want to just make sure I grab that same layer, Alt or Option bracket, and bring this back down so that it clips all with everything else. So now you should see Andrew, and then it slide over. And obviously it's so fast, I can just bring this out so we can see it more. I wouldn't leave it like this though, in the final. Oh, come on.
Finicky. We have 5 minutes. No clicks are working.
There we go.
That's fun.
That was sort of it. We can make it longer too. It's fine. It's all working. It's all working. Yeah, that's too far, so we'll bring it back somewhere in here.
Close-ish.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to call that as close as it's going to get. There we go.
Oh, 100%. That's exactly. Yeah. It's funny because you have it in your brain and you're like, okay, this is like the vibe. And then you see it and you're like, that's exactly it. Like you did it.
Yeah.
I also love what the type is doing at the end when it slides in. The like tiny little zoom and lock back in, which I think is a mistake, but it also looks really good.
Oh, wait, which one? The one there?
The one that's black and orange. That one. Did you do that on purpose?
That's on purpose. I have a philosophy behind it. The whole thing. I'm like, you know what? This is because I've seen enough of Office Space. Office Hours. I do that all the time. Office Hours was Andrew's and Nick's old show, if you didn't know. I've seen enough that they're always making minor changes and adjustments to every little thing. And I was like, how fun would it be that like, oh, I think it's supposed to be here. No, let's move it here. I did the same thing back here with, let's see, Nick's. Let's see. Yeah.
So I love the intentionality behind that and the thought of like understanding the vibe of what you're working on and then finding little ways to incorporate that into the workflow.
Yeah. And the same thing at the end. Like this is the Andrew's typing in the back. And I'm like, let me change it. No, right there, maybe here. just that little bit of wiggle. And plus, it just gives your eyes something to focus on.
This is why Wade's great. It also is giving me very it's giving like MTV, Nickelodeon,
Yeah, I
like
get the
fun.
Nickelodeon. Yeah,
It's great. And I mean, part of it's the colors, but I do think that like
yeah.
the way that it's moving and the energy and the organicness feels very like TV show intro, which I love that you've picked up on. Like it's you're absolutely nailing it.
Yeah, tell me this isn't Nickelodeon.
That
You
is
know?
100%
Oh,
yes.
it's perfect. It's
It's
perfect.
really great. You're watching Nickelodeon with Nick Longo.
Yep.
Oh, my brain, just know during the stream at 1 o'clock, I'm going to take this frame and make it say Nick instead of Longo. It's going to say Elodian on the bottom.
Wow. That's gonna be
Oh,
great.
all right. So, let's answer a question real quick. I know there are brief sites. Are there any motion graphics brief generators? That's a great idea.
Oh, wow, great question. Honestly, I don't know. I would think maybe that's a thing.
I think that it maybe is a thing, and I think that a great resource for getting prompts or like learning more about animation would be to stick around right after this stream for
Oh,
PixieQ is going to be doing Animation 101 immediately following this. And Ray is going to have 5 new mini games to help you practice with thinking like an animator and getting more comfortable in After Effects. So
yeah, stick around.
stick
Pixie
around.
is great.
Yeah,
Pixie
that
is
is the
great with
answer
that.
to your
Yep.
question of how do you learn? Literally just like stay exactly right here. Take your hands, put them above your head, and leave them there for 3 minutes. And then you will learn with some fun prompts from our friend PixieQ. All right, Wade, that's all we have today. Give us some advice going forward in our creative careers. What
Oh,
advice do
wow.
you have to our creatives? Anything you want to say? You got a
Uh,
minute.
get out of your comfort zone. Do it. Find something that makes you feel a little bit queasy, and then be like, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to try it.
Yes, you can do it,
That's
everybody.
it. Yeah.
That's it. All right. Thanks for joining us. Stick around for Animation 101, and I will see you on Twitch at 1 o'clock Pacific time, twitch.tv/Adobe for some more anchor points. Bye.